just do some social media controlling, because that's what's required. Excellent. Hopefully that's all gone live in the correct place, which is always cool. There we are. Good evening. Yeah, it probably is late afternoon for you, isn't it, Anya? Thank you very much for joining. I'm a little early. Oh, let me shut that up so we don't have an echo. That's never good. That at least is on my page so I can see what's going on. Good evening, afternoon, Jan. Hello, Alison. Welcome, welcome. We'll just wait for a little bit of time for a few people to come in, and also for it to just tick round till 3 o'clock, because I've gone live a little early, and as ever I've got way too much gubbins on my table. Fortunately most of it's all out of your sight, so it doesn't look like a car crash, which is always good. Hi Mary, hi Anya, welcome, welcome. There's a few of you ticking. Hello Evie, welcome. Hello Dee, welcome. Hello Anthony, welcome. Oh, good afternoon Lou. Thank you so much for joining me today. That's most unexpected, but thank you. Good afternoon, Tracy. Hi, Miss Edie. Welcome from the USA. I'm assuming it is 10 a.m. EST out in the States. Might be wrong. Good afternoon, Sheila. So, as many of you will know, my hubby has been a little bit poorly. We're under control, but we've got lots of things ahead of us. Excuse the plane flying overhead. The flight path is obviously in its opposite direction to normal today, which is always helpful. No, my darling, please do not. I was just very surprised to see you, and it's very nice to see you. Hence my comment. But it's good to see other creatives coming and joining, and it's nice to have a nice big party on Facebook. Otherwise it seems a bit like you're doing things on your 10 a.m. and cloudy. It's dry and sunny here, which makes a change. So we're going to be using some Alchemy of Art rice papers. Now I got the lovely Sarah Wright on Facebook to order these in for me, and I've got multiple copies, but I happen to know she still has some because there was a minimum order quantity that she had to get the ones I wanted. So if you see these and you like them, then please just comment or find her or send her a personal message, and there she is. Sarah, if you want, you can put your link to your shop or your page in, darling, because I really like these. As you see, I've got multiple copies. So this is another one. Lots of little images which I think are just great. We have some bigger bunny images. Let me just turn some of those round so it's less confusing. Thank you, Miss Edie, for the press. It's much appreciated. And yeah, I probably went a little bit over the top when I popped these in. We've got little bunnies, but actually up to this year I just really struggled to find reasonably small sized images. And then we've got this beautiful bird as the last one, and that will be for a different make, but they're gorgeous rice papers. So let me fish back to the ones that I was going to use, and as I say, Sarah has these and a few others that she got at the same time. Here we are. We'll pop those that way round, pop those over on the floor, and then we can do some making. But I promised her I'd do an unboxing, and then of course ended up with hubby in hospital, so it all went a bit pants up. So I've got two things to do today, and one of them was not my original intention, but I wanted to clarify for those of you in the UK something that wasn't said yesterday on a TV channel, just so that out of fairness to Pentart, so that people actually know how to get the best of their products. So in Hobbycraft at the moment, they have these bisque eggs in stock, and these are not primed, but let me just add some primer to these. So we're going to do a couple of different things today. We're going to use the one component crackle, and we're also going to use the fineline crackle. Now, the fineline crackle was sold on air yesterday as being the easiest crackle to use. Well, it is if you know how to use it, but it certainly isn't if you don't know how to use it. So for those who might have bought them, and partly because it's my favourite crackle anyway, we're going to just do some little bits with that. The other eggs are already primed, so so these come from Hobbycraft. You can buy them online or in the store, and they do them in packs, or singly and also in multi-packs. So they're just a really nice shape for Easter projects, I think, and they're small enough to be useful. Hello Nicole, welcome. They do come with little organza hanging pieces, but I'm going to change those. So let me just give these a little bit of a coat. We'll do one side of them, and I will do the other opposite side off camera, because as I say, it's more there as a learning point as much as anything else. So the live that I actually had initially planned to do uses these moulds. So this is a Prima redesign mould. They've got lots of imagery, and it's a wreath shape, and as it came out of my mould, its resin, I sort of pushed it a bit to make it a little bit more oval than it actually is in the mould. And in the same mould are these eggs, which have a texture on them, and also a couple of different shaped bunnies, and this is one of them. And these are available from Just Like Home Interiors. So if you're looking for them, but obviously you could use any wreath mould you had, you could use any leaf mould that you had and build your own wreath. Lots and lots of options. So there we are. So let's just pop that into there. So we're going to start with this one, and we're going to go with, because why not, because it's not going to stay this colour. So we're just going to add, this is a sun yellow, really bright, vibrant yellow, but we're going to be covering a lot of it anyway. But I just think that the sun yellow will work and pick up the daffodils that are in the mould. So there we are. Let me just give that a little bit of a blast dry, and I can get these dry. It's a beautiful, beautiful yellow. It's just the right side of orangey yellow. So that is the sun yellow that I've just picked up. Excuse me abusing that brush, and this is plain yellow. So I like the slightly orangey undertone of this. Good afternoon, Anna from Romania, I think. Hi Julie, thank you. I didn't see you come in, my darling. Please feel free, anyone who wants to share and spread the love so we can build some numbers. That's always cool. Let me just give these a little bit of a cover. So as I say, we're doing several different bits today, so I can clarify some bits and pieces, because I would hate people to buy a product from Pentart and then find that actually it doesn't do things as easily as was initially suggested. So let me just prime the other side of this. I can't just do one side. I might crackle on one side, but hey ho. So let's just these, and we'll just add there. It doesn't take very long. This is a very porous surface because it's unfinished bisque ware, and so it will, the paint absorbs in, but it will provide a barrier and make working on top of it much more manageable. So let me just do that, and then we can add some extra layers. I did already turn that over. You see, you lose track of what you're doing. So as I say, it's important, I think, when you're making projects that you, particularly ones that you might want to bring out year after year after year, that you take the appropriate steps and you don't miss out steps along the way, because again, that is sensible, I think, in amongst the situation. There we are. So there we are. Cool. Okay, so let's just pop that over there, and let's just add this to the other side of here, and then we can carry on. Hello Mel, I'm assuming that you're in the USA from the fact that you're saying good morning. There we are, so we'll pop that onto there. That can go there, we can worry about covering those, and that can go into there. We will come back to that. It's getting a little thick, thank you Alison. Because it's a water-based acrylic, it means I can add water into it, because it's the water that's evaporated to dry it out. And let me just de-yuck the fingers, because they're pretty vile as they stand at the moment, and that's not very good. It is a proper egg yolk colour. It is surely a proper egg yolk colour from that point of view. There we are. Oh dear, oh dear, there we are. Let's just pop this into here. Hopefully we'll be sorted. Right, good. And then let's just give this a little, let's lid that, because obviously it's better that we don't disturb and leave our products out to evaporate. And let's just give these all a little bit of a whoosh dry. So they're unfinished bisque pottery crafter jacks is what they are, and I like the fact that they're a flat surface, because it can be quite tricky adding rice paper to curved surfaces, in terms of making sure you don't get lots of wrinkles in it. So the flat shape really is very, very helpful from this point of view. There we are. So lots of different projects on the go, so I apologise ladies, but I think it will be worth it at the end of the day, because we've got some drying stages to do in between these. So yeah, they are great, and they are not expensive, which is always an added bonus. You could of course use an MDF shape, but these just are lovely. Doesn't matter that that is not a smooth colour, because actually we're going to see very little of it. Let's just get these to be a bit dried. Hello Lou, welcome my darling. It's much appreciated that you're joining us. So yeah, we're just going to have a little bit of a time, because one of the crackles really does not like water in any way, shape or form. Hello Blanche, welcome my darling. So, eeny meeny, so let's do this in sensible order. Good. So this is the Pentart one component crackle. It is the easiest of all of the crackles. They're all relatively easy, but this one is definitely the easiest to use. So we're going to do this, as I say, we're going to have to do this in stages, because that's the headache with two-sided pieces, isn't it? But there we are. So this is just a layer of the one component crackle glaze. It goes on clear, and it will dry slightly tacky, and we will come back to that in a minute because we've got more to do. Hello Apostolus, welcome. Apostolus is based in Greece, so that is lovely. Is Annie joining you today, my darling? So let us, why don't we use what we've got open, because it makes more sense, doesn't it, than opening new. So I am deliberately going for a very neutral colour for these eggs. So and these are the ones I'm going to use the fineline crackle on. And it's just to show you some ideas, some Eastery projects, and to have something that's a little bit different. And these ones I can literally just do on the side of, and off camera I will repeat the front surfaces on the back. There we are. And because I'm going to mix these up with some different mediums, I'm going to keep the base colours all pretty much the same. And it's a pale colour. I could have gone with an off-white to do these, but actually I think that this is more sort of raw eggshell coloured. And I think because of my rice papers are coloured, it's not going to matter to choose these, because it is a pale colour and it will work with the extra layers that we're going to add. So there we are. So let's just pop that onto there. As I say, we will cover those anyway. So let's just give these all a good waft dry. She says, having dropped the heat gun on the floor. Hi Liz, welcome. So the one component crackle is heat settable, which always makes life easier. And I can set these to dry as well. I take it that Annie isn't. I trust that Annie is well, darling. There we are. So we'll just get these all dry before we can add the next layers. This one properly dry. Oh, I like the eggs. They're just making nice projects, nice bases. Something just a little bit different. If you don't need chocolatey treats but want to take a little gift to someone, these will work quite well. So those are dry. And as I say, I'll paint off camera the reverse sides of those so that they're a great size. They're about 12 centimetres, I think, so a goodly size, until Pentart set me a challenge of doing an egg that's at least 15 centimetres tall, and then I couldn't use them for that, but hey ho. Now, the fine line crackle requires you to have everything completely dry. That brush does not feel completely dry to me, so let me just find a brush that is dry. Okay, it might not look very nice. You're right, Joan, they don't have to. So fine line crackle does not like water at all. So we're going to make our eggs to look like faux porcelain, because that's the primary technique. So the fine line crackle, unlike the one component crackle, comes with a component 1 and a component 2. There we are, and it is heat stable, which is always positive, though my preference for most crackles is actually to let them dry naturally on their own. Yeah, I think they'd make fantastic Christmas decorations as well, or wedding favours. You know, lots of different uses for them, Joan, I think. There we are. So we have a coat of the fine line crackle component 1, and component 1 for this crackle is white. Okay, so it's impossible, you know, you can't really get them mixed up. So one component, clear, gloopy, fine line, says component 1 on it, it's got a big number 1 on it, and is clearly white. So that can go over there. And let me just, yeah, that still needs a little bit of a dry. And we are going to have a bit of drying to do today. Hi Joy, welcome. Good afternoon. Tomorrow, welcome my darling. So let me just dry this. And that's the headache, isn't it, when we've got drying steps to do between things. So that's just life. That is just life. Let me just have a little bit of a move around for some of these. So we can bring the bits that we want in the centre to the centre. We'll give that a little bit of a waft. What we're going to... Hello Sarah, welcome my darling, thank you for sharing. So this no longer feels horrendously tacky. There are a couple of areas where it does. So let me just pop that over there, give those a little bit. That can sit there. And then, now what most of you will be used to me doing when it comes to using the one component crackle is actually using a dauber to give a very crazed effect, and I'm deliberately not going to do that today. I want a much more obvious weathered wood effect. So I'm just going to load my brush. This is I think cream white. Yeah, cream white. And again, just as if I'm using my dauber, don't overwork it because it won't like it. You'll start lifting it off. And we can pop some more on the other side of there imminently. So if I pop that into there, and then we come, just give this a little waft dry. Lots of steps, lots of drying, but and I'll lift this up in a minute because I can certainly see that this is cracked, and then we're going to repeat it on the other side when it's had a chance to dry all the way through. So this is one of the reasons why I set myself a challenge of doing more than one thing today, just so that we had a different process. Hello Sylvia, welcome. And there's Lamia joined us from Canada, I think, possibly. Aha, so Sylvia is yes, Lamia probably has joined us, looking at that response from people, which is lovely. So ladies, I hope everyone is well and enjoying their weekend. I'm thinking that 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday might be quite a good time for lives. It's a time when there's really not much else going on Facebook in terms of live, so it shouldn't interfere with anyone else's lives, which is always a blessing. It suits people from the UK, from Ireland, from most of Europe, and I think most of the States. And I don't have very many Australian and New Zealand followers, so they can catch up if they do want to see what's going on. So I just need this to dry properly. Because I've got a thicker layer there. I'm going to turn it over, and I don't really want to lift stuff off. Hi B, welcome, welcome. So let me go. And if you're not careful and you don't let it dry and you force dry stuff too much, it's never a great thing to do, is it? Thank you, Crafty Jacks. Yeah, I'm thinking it's probably a good enough time for people. There we are. Multitasking is always good, Anthony. Yeah. I think, you know, it's just about picking a time that works with people and doesn't interfere with anyone else. I think, Crafty Jacks, it's, you know, it's difficult, isn't it? It is difficult. I hate the idea of, you know, I wouldn't want to, you know, I'm very conscious that I don't need to earn a living from my crafting, but there are others who do lives who do, so I think it's important, you know, I'm just mindful that I don't cause other people headaches, really, when they're doing lives, and I certainly don't want to impact on any small companies' businesses. Absolutely, Dee. I've got plenty of papers you can have if you want. It will work. Right, excellent. So let us just turn this one over and repeat. Eek. Now then. Oh, I don't want that one. Don't want that one. That one will do. So I can take my pot, my paintbrush, out of my wet paint to work with that one component crackle. There is no chance that I will do that with my my fine line crackle, because it just does not work if you do that. It is absolutely water sensitive. So there we are, we'll pop that onto there. Why has that decided to misbehave? He's just worried because he can't. What's she saying to you, Elaine? Let me just let me see if I can see. What, multitask? Ant's quite good at multitasking. Hello, Miriam. Thank you, my darling, for joining us. So that's, so we've got that, and let's just give these another dry, because we'll get to a well, it's just as well that's fallen on the yellow flowers, isn't it? There we are. Egg yolk, yellow seed. Thank you, Miriam. Thank you very much. So let's just give these all a good dry. I do want the fine line to be properly dry. And so my strongest advice is, you know, if you can get away with it, it really is to walk away from your fine line crackle at each step and let it dry naturally. They are heat stable, but just be careful you don't bubble the layers. Here we are. Hello, Lynn. Welcome, my darling. Welcome. There we are. So. I did indeed, Lou. They've got lots of little bisque pieces in, and they're quite good. They make good workshop projects. I think they're a nice size for workshops. But you could folk art paint on them quite happily. You could moodle on them if that's what you wanted to do. They're just a really nice size and shape, I think, for doing lots of different things with. If you're going to use lots of them, then Hobbycraft Online will sell them in boxes of 12. They come nicely packed. I have 3 boxes delivered. Not that that isn't a hint for a workshop that I am teaching in the not so distant future, and they've all arrived without any problems whatsoever. Yeah, they are about £2 each, so they're not even expensive, are they? They really aren't. So just let me go. Now Liz, we don't talk about your egg problems though, do we, Jill? So I'll let you in on the secret, ladies and gentlemen. I'm teaching an egg in a retreat with Liz, and there was a specific size. It's not this one, and I went to get the required number for the workshop to find that my local hobbycraft, where I'd picked the sample one up, didn't have any in, which is just typical. Then went online and half the stores hadn't, and then so with a bit of a hunt around, or a lot of a hunt around, I then managed to secure them with visits to several hobbycraft stores. So with a running commentary to Liz as to what we were doing. Still a little bit tacky. I'm glad you're excited, Deirdre. It will be a fun weekend. Liz's projects are prepped and ready. I'm doing a weekend up in Thornton Cleveley's. All accommodation, food, etc. all included. All the cast kits included. Project Friday night. All day Saturday, all day Sunday, chilled evening on Saturday with some crafty games and a bit of fun, because by the time we've done the rest, we're a bit brainless, aren't we? Right, let me let those cool down while we do this, so I can go back to my white for this. I'm going to wipe the worst of that water off there. It was... Oh, I'm sorry, Jenny. I think it's difficult, isn't it? You know, there's certainly some parts of America where I think we're going to be in huge. You've got nasty weather coming in, and so then I think least the horrible fires that are going on in Texas. 1.2 million acres of ground that burnt. There we are. So we'll be careful with that. Cool. Right, let's us put, so that can sit and crackle nicely over there, out of harm's way, on its own. It's already, if I lift it up, beginning to crackle quite nicely. There we are. Yeah, you can see it's crackling if I get the angle right. There. So, look. Let's just have a wipe of the hand. Right, so let me, before I put stuff in that I don't want it in, have a little clear of that. Where's my little scrapey tool? There we are, that will do. It might not be quite the right size, it's not a little one, but it will clear that mess up for me. Pop that over there, pop that over there, and let us put the step 2 onto these. That won't be a problem, Deirdre. We can make sure you're at the airport in plenty of time, my darling. It's not a problem. You're about 2 hours off the airport probably, and then you'll need to drop it off, but we can make sure we finish in plenty of time. So I need the step 2, and I absolutely want a completely dry brush. Okay, and this is sort of an off-putting dirty browny colour. I don't know why I've just done that either, but hey ho, because I was going to put rice paper images on these, but hey ho, we'll put rice paper images on the back, because I say the purpose of this is for that. So I'll kick up. Oh dear, she says. And did she do all 3 of them? Did you? No. There we are. So we're going to go through brushes like video today, but that's okay. I have a feeling I might have got some water on that one. So we'll do the crackle effect on these, and I will decoupage on the back of it separately. because my brain clearly wasn't in gear. So this is, as I say, it's a yucky murky brownie colour, and that is a fresh pot, perfectly sensible. Let's chuck that over there. No, that's going to be in the way. Oh, pop it over there. Right, so I now want to add some rice paper onto here. So let me choose a rice paper that is going to work on here, and I am just going to literally take a wet brush, preferably not one that is filthy. But we're going to have fun and games, aren't we? We are going to have fun and games. Let's just pop that over there, because I don't want water on that. There we are. And I can use a water pen if I want to, but I'm just literally just going to go around the shape of my egg with this one. We'll get this one down. There we are. I think that's going to be there, and I will do the same on the other side of the other eggs before adding the crackle for those. There we are, we've done it. We'll have one side plain crackle and one side not, and that is cool. So that one can go over there. Oops. And let's pick up there. Yes, they are, absolutely are ceramic. So see, lots. I can use one of those. I don't need to have a dry one for this. So this is just a decoupage glue. My preference is not to use Mod Podge because for me it stays very sticky. But ultimately you use what you have, because Mod Podge will work. I just prefer to use what I have, which is the Pentart mediums. There we are. We'll just pop these on through here. The crackle will show through, and pick up the edges, and I can sand off the edges when it's properly dry. There we are. We'll just pop that onto there. Leave that to dry. Oh, that's not helpful, is it? So guess what? We've got sticky. It's going to be one of those days, and this is what happens when you don't let stuff dry properly. But never mind, we'll tackle that one, because it's good to see what happens when things go wrong, because that is also part of life. So that can now go onto the floor, because that's already made a mess of, and that's fine. We can tackle that whilst we do these, because that. There we are. So adding some extra bits. Let's pop that over there and that over there. So we have lots of different bits here. Let's put the eggies over there. Any shades of green that you happen to have to hand will work quite nicely. You don't need to be fussy. I like the matte acrylics, but just because that's what I like doesn't mean that that's what everyone else has to use. And there's quite a lot of detail in this redesign mould, so we might be here just a little bit while we paint it all. There we are. Well, that's also fine. Let's see where we are up to with the different leaves and the different florals that are in here. I might just simplify that one while we paint. Oh, I've no idea, but I'm sure that you'll be able to get bisque eggs out in America, my darling. They're not so uncommon, I think. So here we are. Nothing like adding to the fun of life today by making a mess of things, but hey ho, that's also just part of life, isn't it? Because that's what happens when you're rushing, and it's why I tend to do this. Now I will say that I had already pre-primed my resin pieces with bonding primer. Although the resin I use you technically can paint straight onto, it's never my recommendation to do that. I would always suggest that you prime your pieces properly first before you embark on any lengthy project. Now then, let's see where we can work out what other florals or other leaves we have. So I think that's a leaf down there. See, did I think this through? That can be greenery. I think there's lots of different bits on this, but hey ho. Spiky flowers, bit like rosemary, I think, probably. There we are. We'll just pop these into here. And paint this. So you can spend hours painting if that's your thing, or you can opt for the quick and simple approach to life. We'll have those as leaves. That's the advantage, isn't it, and the joy of greenery or natural elements. You can make them whatever colours you want. It's your interpretation of what's in the mould. There we are. Right, that's definitely a leaf over there, and we'll have another set of leaves over there. There we are. Cool. Have we managed to get that covered? I always go back and find bits that I haven't managed to get, particularly on the edges of things when I'm painting. There we are. Cool. So that can go into there. There we are. So let's go sun yellow for our daffodils. Excuse me if my head's in the way. I just don't want to pick this up at the moment. And I'm conscious that I'm going to have to go back and sort it out. Now by picking up some of the green, because I haven't let it dry, I'm going to get a more natural colour in the process, and that's cool. So I can see some more areas now that I'm either going to add some greenery to, or add a different colours if there's another plant in the background, and that's also fine. There we are, that can go into there. There's lots and lots of detail in this mould. Lots of detail. There we are. So we'll just be patient in the process, and then we'll lid that for the moment. Good suggestion, Anthony, very good suggestion. So we'll take our sun yellow now, and we can paint in the centre of our daffodils. There we are. Go there. And then we've got some seed heads and some bits and pieces. And there we are. So just because I'm going to add some this is actually called vintage purple, so we're just gonna, she says, there we are, so we're gonna add some vintage purple into here. Could find some proper purple in a minute, might have to go and raid me. Stash to find that, but there we are. So we'll pop that into there. We'll definitely have a different floral shape in there, but we've got more of this bobbly one lurking over here. I'll add that into there. And I can tone some of these colours down quite happily, depending on the next steps that I choose to take, or not, as the case may be. There we are. So that works for that, because I don't really want them all in the same colours. So let's just pop that over there, pop that over there. Go with this, which is a pale patina grey. There we are. So let's just add some of this pale bluey colour into here, because I think it will be pretty. I've no idea what the plant's meant to be, but you know, does it matter? Answer no, it does not. We'll just add a little bit of that into the bottom of there. We'll get rid of that one off there. We'll flip this round. We'll add some of this bluey into here. We'll bring out the details anyway, so that's not a problem, and all the texture. So it doesn't matter to me if it looks all homogeneous at the moment, because it won't do by the time I have finished adding the different elements to it that are going to be added. Cool. So let's swap that into there. And go there. I'm going to pick up some olive to pick up the next colour. So I'm just wanting it not all to be a single, a flat colour in the finished piece, so hence the picking up the different colours, the different tones, and picking up the different elements. I mean, how you, no right, no wrong way I think for doing this. I think it is very much a personal idea of what you want your floral shapes to be. And I've managed to miss a side there, but that's also okay. We can sort all of that. Just going to add some different elements to the pieces, little bits of detail. And we've got some little heads here. Now then, just while I've got this out, as I can see an area, just go. The blue is pretty. It is patina green, just to be difficult. Quite a lot of the Pentart colours are labelled as blue when I see them as labelled as green when I see them as blues. So don't be at all surprised by that. There we are, and that is just a little bit of the beige on here to cover in these last seed pods. And again, I'm not mithered about picking up some of that green into there, because as I say, I think it's a seed pod, and so it's not necessarily all going to be a single colour. And adding in some hints from the plant, the plants around, will just make it look more natural overall, I think. Alright, excellent. Good. So that wasn't too difficult, was it? That can sit there. Right. Eggies. So this is country green and vintage yellow. Yeah, okay. So we're going to make some eggs. So I'm thinking duck egg, but did I have colour that was labelled duck egg? Did I did not. So we're just going to improvise to make a ducky eggy, a sort of ducky eggy colour, because why not? Why not? I'm going to have to wipe my hands in a minute because it'll drive me balmy having yucky mucky sticky mitts. And hopefully in a minute we can turn back to our egg that I made a mess of the back because it wasn't properly dry before I added the rice paper on the other side, so it's stuck to my mat, and that's a really good example of letting stuff dry first. There we are. So I don't want these to be a single flat colour. So we're just going to take some of this little blue and catch some of the edges just to add a little bit of extra detail onto these, so it's not all just a set flat colour. We can bring out some of the texture, and I'm going wet into wet on purpose here because it's going to allow it to blend more manageably and just give me some colour variation in my pieces, and some dry brushing later on will help with that. Did I get, oh, I've naughty girl, naughty girl. Now we can have a brown bunny, ladies, or we can have a white bunny. Please put some comments in the post while I just do a little bit of drying of some of this, so I can, it's good as wet and wet. So brown bunny or white bunny with grey detailing. Oops, we've missed loads of comments because that's what happened. White bunny, brown bunny. B was first. Brown. Oh, it's interesting, isn't it? So on my phone, B was first, and on my computer, Crafty Jack, Sheila said, right, good afternoon, Marisol. I think the white will give us some brown with a little white. Okay. White. Oh, white, okay. Well, it's not like making my life too complicated and interesting, is it? Yeah, let's just give these a little bit of a dry. Shuffle some of these out of harm's way. They can sit there. We'll go white, and then we'll add some details. Whilst that is drying, we might see if we can rescue the back of his, which is not quite how I wanted it, but it won't matter. It really won't matter. Oh, she said that might matter, but hey ho. I just need to get, okay, go with white and brown eyes. Okay, I've got all of it out, apart from I haven't got my black antiquing gel out, but I can grab that in a minute. That's not a problem, because again, I think it's quite a useful trick. Okay, let us just, because this is a sticky tacky mess now, let me just take off some of those edges. I can repaint that as I want to. And remember, I'm going to put one of these onto the backs of all of those. Now this is still tacky, which is not clever, and that was totally my own fault because I didn't let it completely dry. So this will not crackle, or shouldn't crackle, when I'm adding this, okay? And I'm rather hoping that I won't make an even bigger mess by adding this, and if it does crackle because I'm using the sponge, it's going to be quite subtle. There we are. Right, pop that into there, pop that into there, pop that into there, and give it all a good dry. This time we will let it have a good dry. Oh, it is going to crackle. No, there you are, you didn't know. I didn't think it would. So it's probably crackled because the crackle medium underneath was still there and still slightly tacky, and I've lifted off the top layer of paint, and I've been quite careful with what I've added on top. You'll be able to see the two different effects in a minute that you get, one with the paintbrush and one with the so if I lift this up, I can see I've got my bigger cracks here, and then here I've got really fine crazing, and I am just going to give that a varnish to seal it all in. Now I have picked up a chameleon varnish that's got a gold sparkle in it. It's not one I use very often, so I'm just going to give it a stir to mix up the mica that's in it. It should be quite subtle because you can barely see what's in it. There we are. But I'm hoping, there we are, it's just going to give me a little bit of a sparkle, and it's going to seal that in for me. So it's going to be a pretty look, and I can add it over the top of my rice papers when I want to. Okay, so I'll pop that there, pop that there. That can then go down there. That can go in there. Right. Oh, she says, splattering that varnish everywhere. Oops. Let me just give this a wipe, because if I don't and wipe the top, what will happen is it will set like solid. Which isn't really what I want. Oh dear, and that won't helpful because I've now put a water product on top of my crackle, but it'll show you what not to do, if nothing else. Yeah, there we are. Cool. She says. Pop that over there, pop that over there. Right, white. Let's grab white. For Bunny. Did I say I was going to need lots of brushes today? Did I have lots of brushes today? Yeah, I did. Okay. So one a bit. Right, there we are. Cool. Just let me grab the black antiquing gel. Because I don't want that back for me other details. There we are. Let's just now I'm wanting to add some antiquing stuff to these. Not all of it's going to be black. These are going to be a pain. It's quite humid in here today, and so the fine line is, I think, not drying, and I think it demonstrates actually how different. Oh, it's beginning to go. That's just beginning to go. You won't, got no chance of you seeing it at the moment, but I can just see that it's started to go. Good. Goody, 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 goody. We'll come back to these. Because we've got lots of I think, Miriam, we just have to use what we can get hold of in the country that we live in. I think it's really easy to get sucked into the concept that we need everything from everyone, and if someone has used one particular product, then we have to have that product and we can't do it without, when actually in reality there's almost certainly a way around it with products that are available locally. So I put on my nice big hoodie so that I wasn't cold, and now I'm red hot, which is joyful. Not. Right, let us hopefully sort this out. So I have out one of my most favourite products. It is white antiquing gel, because I can mix it with all sorts of other colours to get what I want, or paler shades, but also I think it's just going to give a nice tone. So that's because I haven't let the green settle down all over the place, and it's not dried in the depths, and I want the colour into the depths, but actually it's not going to matter. Okay, so I now need just to take hold of a wet wipe for this. So the antiquing gels will wipe back when they're wet, but they don't when they're dry. So there we are, we can now just lift off the colour off the top, and it's going to bring back lots of the details for me. And this is why I like the white, because it's just so much softer than using the umbre and the browns that I see lots of people using. And I could have gone, I guess, with ochre, but it gives, again, that gives quite an orange undertone, and that's not the look I was wanting for this. So there we are, let's just wipe this back. And this is a trick that I use a lot, because it means that you just don't need to be so precise with your painting, because life's too short. If you like model painting, be my guest. But if it's not your favourite activity, then this really does help with the process. There we are. So you can see that it really does add lots and lots of detail into your piece quite nicely from there. So that is antiquing gel, and it's just a lot softer, I think, from that. Now for my bunny, I'm wanting grey. Now Pentart don't do a grey antiquing gel. Very inconsiderate of them, like. She says, knocking her computer's keyboard flying. I apologise if everything goes a bit pants up at this point while I sort out that. Oh dear. Oh yes, it's right. Yeah, we'll get rid of that. But they do conveniently do black. and white. And so you can, that's interesting. That is interesting, because I have a black already open somewhere, but hey ho, we'll not worry. It certainly does. It certainly does. So I can now lift out a little bit of the black antiquing gel. We won't need very much, that can go into there. And some of this white. There we are, there'll be the lid. Just as well I've got another pot of that, isn't it? There we are. And I can now make, you can see just how pigmented that black is, can't you, when you consider how little I've just popped into there to make that grey. So you can make tones of any of the any of the colours you want. So by mixing it up you can get lots of shades, lots of colours, stick it into all of the gaps. So when you don't want brown but you want the details, and you don't want black because it's just too harsh for your project, then this works really well for doing that. Here we are. So, and then all I need to do now is wipe it off the surface. There we are. I'm going to give that a little dry, because I've now got a white and grey bunny. That can go down on the floor. We'll give all of these another bit more of a blast. Because these are cracking. Let me see. I don't know how I can certainly see the crackles appearing on these, though I suspect in the shine, let me chill the light, that you probably can't. But we will sort that out imminently. We are definitely going. Right, let's come back to our bunny. So the antiquing gels also have a wax in them, so they add a finish on their own right, but you could varnish these pieces if you wanted to with either, I would go for a matte because it's more natural, but ultimately the choice is completely yours. And I know I wanted to add just a little bit of pink into my bunny ears and a little bit onto my the nose. So is that the most natural pink? Possibly not, but adding the compact powder to it will certainly help. So compact powder is really is a go-to skin colour, but it's not quite pink enough for me for what I want it for, but mixing the two together will get a custom colour that I'm happy with. There we are. So we can pop just a little bit of pink into there and add a little bit on the end of that nose, because that's what we do. The tail isn't on show, so that's okay, we don't need to worry about that. And then, because we can now add just some black pen there for our eyes. There is one on the other side. We just need to find where it is on the mould. There we are. When this is dry, I can add a little bit more if I want to. Add a little bit more detail. You need just to let that dry properly before you use your pens on them. And where's my white? So we want a little bit of dry brushing. Did I see Annie from Annie arrive? I think I did, didn't I? Welcome, Annie. Welcome. Oh. So this is a flat, rough brush intentionally, and I can now dust that in and just add some little areas onto my eggs, which will help bring out some of the texture that's in these moulds and soften the colours in. There we are. Cool. So that can go into there. Hello Annie, welcome my darling. Right. Let's just stick with 2 eggs for that then. There we are. Where is, oh there it is. So let's just, oh no, that was not a sanding hoe. There we are. So there is our rice paper on the back, and I could crackle over that and I can varnish over it. So there is this piece. So now then, before I cause havoc for myself, because otherwise I know what will happen, I'm going to squish through the hole, because there we are. That will help. We'll neaten that off. And we have some ribbon, which we're going to pop into here now, because otherwise we know full well what will happen when it comes to it. We'll not be able to get it through, because we'll have put everything else on top. So we'll pop that onto there. This is just some hand dyed ribbon, but you could obviously use whatever you've got, with a little lark's head knot for there. And I shall knot this, and then I can make a bow at the end as I want to. So you can make this bit as long or as short as you want, but it's going to take this out of the way for me. So one side is going to have my decoupage piece on it. This piece, it will get neatened off. It will get a layer more varnish over the top of it. That is just a very tough fibre. That can go there. Okay. This is why, and off screen I'll paint the back, because it's obviously going to be visible from there. So there we are. Let's take this and add some heavy body gel all the way around here. We won't need masses, just as well. No, I do have another pot, ladies and gentlemen. We do. There we are. So that can now sit on the top of there. Give that a little wriggle. Make sure it's reasonably centralised. It's an off-centre pattern, so that doesn't matter. I don't want to use that nice brush, but let's do that. So I'm just going to lift off some of that excess glue, give that a little bit of a squash. Hopefully it's going to grab. So if I just pop my bunny onto there, it's reasonably well balanced to be fair, but there's a space underneath, so I'm just going to pop an egg under there and an egg into there to help stabilize it. There we are. And I can add gel medium to my lovely bunny. So that can sit into there. There we go. So he's nicely settled. He's sort of a bit floaty at the end. Thank you, Anthony. There we are. We'll just move you over a little bit. There we are. And then we can start adding some of these other eggs just to ground this bunny into place. So we're going to add some more gel medium there, so that piece can sit onto there. This, excuse me sniffing, that little piece can go into there. It's half covering that, and this piece is going to sit onto there. So I've now got my eggs and my bunny sitting in a way that I'm happy with them. There we are, like so. We'll get them so that they're sitting comfortably. Okay, what should I do with that? So let's just add, and then we're going to go back to our fine line in a minute and give that another bit of a dry, and we will shove out. So I'm just going to make myself a little shabby ribbon with my mucky sticky fingers, because that's what you do, and you have mucky sticky fingers by the time you're finished alive. Here we are. Let's just take this back in. Don't necessarily want a big ribbon, and this one will actually, to be fair, is going to need to be hot glued into place, so we won't hot glue it into place now. So that can sit then onto there. Well, why not, we can add some glue. So we've got a decoupage piece on the one side, and we've got the clay pieces on that side, and a little ribbon onto there. So I'm going to pop that down there on the floor, and I'm going to return to these two eggs. Now, if you could decoupage these surfaces first, but as I say, I just want to make sure people really do understand that the fine line crackle has sets of rules, because if you were watching Hobby Maker the other day, it wasn't very clear, and I just want to make sure people really do understand them. So these need to be dried. So on air the other day, someone used the ordinary metallic wax paste, metallic wax paste, to put into the cracks of the fine line crackle, and it doesn't like water in any way, shape or form, but wax will sit on the surface of this, and then you need to add something to lift it off the very top. There are options, and I've no idea what was used on there, because I can't say it didn't work, but it's definitely not the recommendation. So you could put oil paint into these cracks and wipe it off with a dry, that's better, that's now going, with a dry paper cloth, or you can put the substance that's actually intended to go in which is umbre or antique paste. Let me just get rid of a lot of that. So this is antique paste. You can get it in lots of different colours. There's also a liquid bitumen that you can use, which is quite smelly. Do not pick up a wet wipe for this one, because it really will not like it in any way, shape or form. So if I now wipe this off, you've now got your fine line crackle in there. That just sits in a pot of solvent. Okay, the alternative, I'm just going to pick up the gold pigment because I think it's going to be easier for everyone to see if I let me just pick up. Let's go with the red gold pigment because it will be easier to see. So that is now not quite dry. Absolutely, totally. I do have a fan heater next to me, but the one I put in front of the fan heater, because I did 3 of these at the beginning, is definitely not cracked at the moment. So antique paste, oil paint, if you haven't got antique paste, umbre, Van Dyke brown will give you a good colour if you want the brown, but you can add any you want. Or you can pick up a softish brush. So this is just a pigment powder. So if you've got mica powders, you can do this with your mica powders quite happily. Wipe that off, and that will leave that in there for you. Okay. I know because I have done this, so because I ignored this set of instructions like you do. Okay. This crackle will carry on cracking. If I just leave these like this without sealing them, then what will happen is that a year down the road they will have continued cracking and they will feel like flaky dry skin. It's really not a very nice look, to be honest, and so you absolutely need to seal these. You definitely don't want big brushes for this bit. There we are. So you have that'll do. So there are 2 choices, okay? But you'd need to absolutely use a solvent-based varnish. This crackle is lovely, Jan. It is my favourite crackle. It's so gentle and so subtle, and it just does work. But you need dry, 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 and dry. Yep. Otherwise you'll regret it. So there are 2 solvent-based varnishes. One is yellow and one is glossy, and there's a matte version as well, but for porcelain I always use a glossy. So we've got this one, which is yellow, which will give an antique finish, and you absolutely do, you must seal it. If you don't, you'll regret it a year down the road. Yeah. Brush out all of the bubbles that I've added in. And it's a solvent base, and it will take a while, and I would go back and I will do that a couple of times. As I say, not using your solvent based varnish or glossy, your solvent varnish over the top is a real mistake. There's not a question of you can if you want to. This is a absolutely you must seal it situation. It will look good for a while if you don't, but take it a year down the road and you will regret it. and once they've been sealed with a solvent varnish, you can wash, you can spray them with and do pretty much what you want with them. They're going to coat. So even though I put powders in this one, it's perfectly safe, and the powders are staying in the cracks. So those now need to dry. Once they're dry, I'm going to add some decoupage images to the other side of them, and I will crackle over the top so that we've got the different effects, and I'll do my third one. So there we are. So we have a 3D piece. I will come back and I will paint all of this greenery because it clearly needs to be painted. Joan, for the fine line crackle, it absolutely has to be a solvent based varnish. Let me see. If you don't use a solvent based varnish and you go near it with water, then you will lift the crack off. If you use the random crackle, then it doesn't matter. If you use the classic crackle, it doesn't. But the fine line crackle is absolutely, it requires the solvent varnish, and that is why I wanted to specifically make sure I'd covered that today. So we've got an egg with a decoupaged image with my little scene on the front of it, and we've got two faux porcelain eggs here. I will photograph those once they're dry. I will paint the back of that green so that it's leaves on the other side of it, and I will decoupage the backs of those pieces and crackle those once the front is properly dry. So that is all I'm intending doing today. I hope that we've liked it. I'm thinking that next week I'm probably going to do a more papercraft based live for my Sunday with me. I am live for Pentart on Tuesday, and I have cryptically called the piece Roses in Red, but we're using Sir Vagabond Fantasy because there's a nice rose piece in that. And I am also live for Dirty Gertie Pretty Gets Gritty next Friday on Pretty Gets Gritty. So please, ladies and gentlemen, stay safe, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I no doubt will see some of you later on tonight live in the chat for Terry Lightsky or Crafty Chaotix, depending on which bit you're watching it from. So ta-ta for now, stay safe, and let me just swap to my streaming platform so I can stop my stream